Greetings, Wargamers. We're your hosts, Trevor,
Jay,
Josh, and this is Chain Attack.
Chain Attack is sponsored by Discount Games Incorporated. Discount Games Incorporated specializes in customer service, low prices, and prompt shipping. You can find our web store at www.discountgamesinc.com.
Welcome to Chain Attack. I'm your host, Trevor, and I saw the new James Bond film last night.
Oh, this is Jay. What do you think of it? Was it all you ever hoped for?
I don't know if it's all I ever hoped for, but I'm sure many of the complaints stemmed out of the final, the ending of the show. But I'm perfectly okay with the ending of the show. So it feels the whole story arc from Casino Royale to the newest one, to No Time to Die, feels like a very encapsulated story. Like from beginning to end, the whole thing is just unlike the other James Bond films, which try to almost, not completely, but a lot of them kind of stand on their own. These are very much intended to be more of a full story arc, I guess. And you may not realize that when you're watching the first few. So anyway, I enjoyed it.
Who are you, Josh?
Oh, did I answer? I'm Josh, and dang, anything clever I was going to say just went right out of my head. Well, I'm Josh, and I lecture my teen child for not waking me up when I'm on the couch in a contorted position waiting for her to come home from what is probably a completely reasonable time to be partying, but it was too much for me to endure. Like, am I expecting too much that I should be awakened off of a couch if I look like I'm in pain? Is that just an old man complaint?
I mean, I don't know. I would if I was waiting up for a teenager, I would expect to be woken up when they got home.
I want to believe that she'll not repeat the error again, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah.
I am kind of curious. Both of you are parents. I am not, other than my cats, I guess.
Of fluffy little babies, yes.
Yes. And I'm curious. You made a comment in the pre-ramble, Josh, that your oldest daughter is the one who you've done the best job of, raising up in the ways of playing games with you, etc.
Right.
But I guess, how much? What's the experience like raising kids? Of like, how much is just the personality of the child versus what you do as a parent?
Oh, well, I love.
Are you asking? Do you have any influence whatsoever?
Kind of.
I guess how much? I guess.
I mean, my favorite ratio is the Pareto ratio, right? 80-20. And I really think that is about the ratio. Like 80% of your kid is pretty much set based on their personality and everything, and about 20% of it you have influence on. For example, like my least board gamey kid, I think she always would have been pretty, not that into it. But I think that at the time when she was growing up and most likely to play board games, like, I think that I was grouchy sometimes about, like, pay attention to the game, like, take your turn, like, and this is a kid who probably has a little bit of ADHD or something like that. And anyway, I'm just saying, like, there are probably moments that I made it less pleasant for this particular kid. And, that probably had some influence on her. I mean, she'll still play games, but, like, it's only a very certain subset, and you kind of have to catch her in the mood and, so does that answer that question, Jay? I think it's a really solid question.
That is an answer, yes.
I think that I've had, maybe I'm naive, but I think I've had a significant influence on the things children. I mean, I've provided them with all of the potential tools and be nerds, and they have.
But do you think I guess that is, would they have, without that, do you think they would have been nerds? Was that their personality anyways, or, I guess this is kind of an unprovable question.
It is. Can we put the, same kids in the same situation for the same, and then just change my behavior? I mean, it seems difficult, but certainly I think my daughter, who's a really voracious reader right now, probably wouldn't have been had she not gotten the influence that her mother and I put on her to read, probably way more than she wanted to, at least initially. And then eventually it caught on, and she was, full voracious reader. And I don't know that it would have been the same. I don't think she would have been a gamer at all as far as video gamer or board gamer in another family. So yeah, I don't, in fact, yeah, it's not really her thing. Although she does play a lot of video games now, but I think given the opportunity, she would have latched onto something else. She's quite a bit into art, and I think she would have just leaned heavier into that, which maybe that's a problem. Maybe I should have allowed her to enjoy art more. But I've never discouraged her by any means. I'm very artistic myself. I've always encouraged her and helped her and provided her any tools she wanted. So I also provided the opportunity to do things not art related. The oldest boy, yeah, I'm pretty sure he would still be a gamer. Even from a little kid, he was just like drawn to keyboards and mice and controllers, and like yeah, I don't think I had anything to do with that. The youngest, I don't know. He's a lot like me in that he could latch on to almost anything and be happy about it. Like there was multiple times in my life where, every night of the week I was doing a different hobby, and he's like that. He's interested in lots of different things, and I don't think that would change. So whatever he was latched onto would just be based on whatever he was interested in at the time.
Well,
so there's your inconclusive, non-scientific answer, Jay.
No clue.
And part of what brought this to my mind is we have the new kittens, and they're super skittish right now, and we're wanting to train them to be, more want to get petted more, etc. So it's going to be a bit of a journey, I think, to see how that goes. But
yeah, that's very much a nature versus nurture conversation, isn't it?
Yeah. So I guess things for Discount Games Inc. I guess the latest release is the Convocation has released for Marvel Crisis Protocol. So there's things like Hood and Dr. Voodoo and Clea and the Sorcerer Supreme and the second Doctor Strange, etc. So go check those out and have lots of fun with Marvel Crisis Protocol. All right, so our topic for this week is things that we are buying ourselves for Christmas. / things we are most excited for in the upcoming future. I mean,
the title of the topic for me would be things I've hidden from myself.
Yeah.
Forgotten about.
Do you mostly do your own Christmas shopping as well, Josh? Or I know it's not totally, because your wife will occasionally contact me and be like,
"Yes, but when is it, Jay? It's always like
it's like
before
Christmas
the event,
Eve,
super last minute." Yeah. My wife is the Trevor of my relationship. Right? Isn't that true, Trevor?
No, Trevor does all the shopping for Christmas.
Long ago, I was very late at shopping, but anyway,
okay, that's what I remember.
In the modern age of the internet, I get everything off Amazon, and I get it way early, and I don't have to worry about it. Although I do procrastinate a little bit sometimes, but truthfully, no, my shopping is done fairly early.
My poor husband Brian, he'll be like, "I hate shopping for you because anything you want, you already buy." Yeah, and then
which is a circular argument, because my response would be that's because if I don't buy it for myself, nobody will look at the wish list that I've clearly posted blazing on the internet and just get me what I want. So
yeah, my wife and I had this argument just like yesterday, and I could tell she was really hurt about it. But I'm like, dear, I cannot remember the last time that I didn't buy my own presents, and I'm not talking about just Christmas. I'm talking about birthday too. And
yeah,
I'm like,
same.
yeah, I'm like, and she's like, well, provide me a list. I'm like, I have tried. She has the same problem your wife does, in that she's sort of like averse to. She's a little afraid of what to order or how to order it. You know what I mean? Like, because the things that we want are not.
Yeah, I think I know.
You can't just go to Walmart and pick up what you want.
100%. I mean, honestly, though, here's my analysis, which is completely non-evidence backed. No, well, there might be evidence, non-scientific. Let's just put it this way. I think that my sweetheart, which is still a romantic and believes that we should just sense and know what gift we want to get for the other person, right? Like, she would probably deny it if I suggested this to her, but I'm like, that is clearly what's happening. Like, you don't want, like, or maybe, you know what, it's probably my problem. What I need to do is I need to actually carve my wish list in stone, or I have to get away from technology, because the fact is, like, you can go on the internet and find what I want with about 3 clicks of a button. But that's probably about 3 clicks too many for my sweetheart. So I need to have it just like delivered by carrier pigeon, and then she would probably still ignore it, maybe.
The other thing that is funny to me is that, like, Brian wants to try to have it be a surprise for me.
Oh yeah, like, she wants that too. Yeah.
How in the heck the shipping? How is that going to happen?
Right, so the shipping is this year, like, he's getting it shipped to somewhere, to a friend's place, etc. but I got a spending notification on the credit card.
Right.
And he did the purchase. And so, you know, I'm pretending that I totally do not know that there is a local lighting kit that is shipping to us.
Yeah, the truth is, I made peace years ago that, like, just take away the romanticism of it. Just get the list, you know, do the boring stuff. It'll all work out just fine.
You accepted the fact that after 25 years of marriage that the romance is dead?
Fine. Yes, that's what I accepted.
All right. Well, Josh, you were the one who thought up this topic, so I'll let you go first. What's your first entry?
That I'm most excited that I bought myself?
Well, or that you're excited to play coming up.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna cheat my own suggestion. Look, I'm gonna start with the one that I'm most excited to play again, because I've already played it. And, you know, originally I would have wrapped it for myself as a holiday gift, but I just don't want to wait that long. But the Clash of Cultures Monumental Edition is really a ton of fun. It is a great Civ game. It's not new, right? I think the original one came out.
New, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, all Monumental really does is it packages the base.
Yeah,
game
it's just a gimmick, marketing gimmick.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but I've played it 3 times now since I got it, and maybe I will wrap it up for myself. Maybe I should see how many games I bought for myself in the past quarter of the year, and I should wrap them all up and really get side eye for my wife. That would be kind of fun. That's the first one I'm excited about, and you know, I played it with my 9-year-old, and like I said, he's no good. All he's learning is suffering, but I think that's an important step in every young gamer's life, to learn to suffer, I mean.
Yes. Well, and really any human, just to learn that life is suffering. And
Agreed.
Trevor, what's one of your things?
So my children, I failed. I think I mentioned earlier in an earlier episode that I required my kids to write down 1 game, 1 article of clothing, and 1 book, and that was all we were going to do for Christmas.
Yes, I do remember this.
Well, my children screwed it all up for me. Like, I looked through their list,
as children are wont to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Well, so I start looking through the list, and I look at them, and my one boy has a game that is free. That all he has to do is install.
Tell me more.
And I'm like, okay. And another boy has, oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'm remembering. But anyway, the point being is that they've all basically done something to screw up the process. And I've mentioned, was it last year that I want them to have, gifts to open?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's like 90% of the stuff they asked for, other than the clothing item, is all like, they're asking like for stuff that there is no physical copy of, especially when it comes to the games. So I started looking at it, and I'm like, well, I want them to open something, which is, I guess it's my own mental problem. I just can't let it go.
Yeah, this is like feeling that you should just sense what your spouse wants for a gift.
This is your own version of
romanticism. This is your romanticism. Yep.
Correct. Yeah, it's my Christmas morning romanticism, because I remember as a kid getting up and having all of these things and, remembering opening them and playing with them. And that is not at all how Christmas is anymore.
Burn that noise.
Yeah, for most first world children. So I'm probably going to end up buying everybody in the family a Steam gift card, and then my goal is to get us all to play, because my one boy did ask for this game, although I think he asked for his birthday and didn't get it. And the reason he didn't get it was because I was afraid that I was afraid that he wouldn't have anybody to play with, because it's more of I don't want to call it a party game, but it is kind of a party game.
Okay.
And that is Fall Guys. Have you guys seen or played this game?
I have it in my Steam library, and I'm really curious to play it. And I think I bought it. No. Do you remember how I live with my Steam library now, Trevor? Some Steam sale happens, I purchase 8 to 12 games, and then a year later, I'm like, I will play each of these 8 to 12 games for 5 minutes now. So that it has not come to its time in the queue yet.
Well, the newest version is called Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, but it is a battle royale. So I hate to use that term because it's so different than Fortnite or PUBG or.
No, but I think that's fair. I think that's the right description for it, because that is the mechanic, right?
Yeah, the mechanic is 100 people start, only one person can win. People get knocked out each round.
But it's like cartoons. It's like, right? I mean, it's little. I don't even know what you call the dumb things. It's like Dr. Seuss. It's like war in a Dr. Seuss world almost.
They feel like those, those punching ball things that you'd get.
Yes. Yeah. I do know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what you call them, but I mean, it's similar to some of the other games I've talked about before, like Gang Beasts and some of the others. They're kind of floppy, walking guys. Well, in Fall Guys, which was wildly popular last spring for a little while and then sort of died out a little bit, but you go through these puzzles or challenges where you race to the end. Or there might be a mini game where you're trying to score points, and sometimes it has teams, and the team who loses gets people knocked out, and the team that wins doesn't. But the goal is to be the last person alive, and it's very silly and fun. And you might get knocked off of, a walkway, or there's like sort of seesaw levels where if you're on one side, the whole thing starts falling down and you might slide off the end or whatever. Anyway, my boy has wanted this for the longest time, and we didn't buy it for it because I just knew that it was going to be like, okay, yes, I want to play, but nobody else in the house can play it. And it's really one of those games, I think, that the fun is increased when you have
like a couch co-op, like a Smash Brothers, right? Or a
correct.
Yeah.
And certainly you don't have to play it that way. It is a computer game. It can be played all by yourself. But there's a reason I have 5 computers in my basement. It's to be able to play stuff like this.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you're basically my hero.
Yeah, I'm going to be buying this for the entire family, and we're going to. My hope is that this is the game we will play a significant amount of. I thought it was going to be Among Us.
Mm-hmm. But that ship has sailed at this point, right?
No, my kids still want to play. The problem is that there's 5 of us, and I don't know if you've ever played a 5-person Among Us, but it's not fun. It really takes 8 players or more
to really start feeling it. Yeah, I could see that. Sure, that's fair.
And I'm not as comfortable about letting my kids loose on the internet as maybe the average person is. So when we got Among Us, we played it for a couple of times, but with 5 people, especially where you could actually turn around and see, like if you look around the room to the other people's computers, you can quickly see who who the
Yeah. Yeah, right.
betrayer, or whatever the name is, is by just looking around, or you can hear it because they have different sounds and other things that cause issues. And you can turn down your sound, but it makes it difficult. I mean, if they look over on my screen and see that the air ducts are red, it clearly means that I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
So there are some ways around that, because some of them they just released an update that added roles, like
really?
Like werewolf.
Like you're the engineer, you're the pilot, you're that kind of role kind of thing. Interesting.
Yes, and one of the roles can use the air ducts just like the betrayer can.
Oh. So you've got all new reasons to be like, I'm not sus, you guys, I promise.
Correct. Still, I mean, one of the ways we got around it was we would get like some of my daughter's friends to play on their phones or to join us. We did that, and it was fun. It's a lot of hassle to get a group. And I just think the Fall Guys thing, it doesn't matter if only 2 of us want to play it or all.
Oh, you think it'll support that a little better? Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it'll fix the dynamic of people. We can. I mean, I realize that the thing I said about not liking the general internet sort of falls on its face here, but there's no chat. You're not talking to other people in the Fall Guys.
Okay, so I have to confess something here really quick, and this is not even behind a paywall, right? So if my wife ever listens to the podcast, this will solve her issue for her of, if you want to surprise me, what you do is you get Trevor's setup copied into our house. Like, I have no reason for not having it other than inertia, but I'm like, why don't I have like 4 computers, set up in a cube or whatever, ready to do multiplayer games like this?
Well, to be fair, it's a really big investment, and I did it mostly piecemeal from leftovers from work. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that everything here is a piecemeal computer left over from work, but that's how I got it started.
Yeah.
And then I started replacing pieces one by one. But it was really hard to say, okay, well, I'm just going to, buy 3 computers for my kids. I also started out before with a computer for my wife already. So we started with 2. Then I took my wife's old computer, gave it to my kids when they were little, and eventually just sort of branched out to that. To jump right in, you're talking, I think you could probably get in for a computer that's not great, but will play simple games. $800, maybe $100 for a monitor or whatever, some keyboards and mice. You're talking. But if you've already got one and you're doing 4, I mean, you're talking about $4,000.
Well, I mean, I have 2, so you know what I mean? Because like right now, basically, the 9-year-old and I have decent computers. Although I kind of need to upgrade his because I don't think his can actually handle Gloomhaven, because we tried to play Gloomhaven and it kind of
petered out.
Yeah, a little bit. So
yeah, I understand. Yeah, I don't.
Anyway,
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't mean to derail us that far off topic, but I do think about that sometimes. I'm like, I should just do that, or
I mean, there's definitely some major benefits to being able to do it. There's some really cool things on computer that if you have. I mean, part of the reason why I do it too is that just all my kids are big nerds.
See, and like my kids, like every one of my kids, even my least gamey kid, loves Don't Starve, right?
Right.
And specifically Don't Starve Together. And like I can never get. I'm like, why don't I have 4 machines ready to go down here? Because they would all jump on if we had that ready to go.
Well, and your son-in-law would absolutely jump on if you gave him the opportunity to do something like that with.
Yeah, it's true. That is what I need to do. Is I just need to suggest that to him. Well, that's what I need to do. I'll suggest that he suggests it to my wife. That's how to make this happen. And then I'll just, I'll have to set up a secret bank account that they can spend from. That'll get the romance back in the idea. Ridiculous. Let's hear yours, Jay.
So I'll tell you about a computer game that I actually pre-purchased. They got me. I almost never pre-purchase.
Wow, yeah, they did get you. What the crap?
Computer games, but Warhammer 3 Total War, I pre-purchased. It's coming out in February, and you get like an extra little expansion add-on if you do the pre-purchase. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. And I am quite looking forward to playing some Warhammer 3 Total War.
What race will you be playing first, Jay?
What are all the new races?
honestly not too sure what all of them are. Let me look real quick. It seems like a lot of their previews have been like Zinch stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's more than just Zinch. I think it's all of the Chaos Gods. I think you can. It's the first opportunity you've had to play a specific Chaos God.
Oh, like you can play Nurgle and Khorne and the whole 9 yards?
I believe so. Yes.
Here's the confirmed starting races, or Warhammer 3 races: the Kislev, Khorne, Nurgle, Zinch, Slanesh, Cathay, and the Ogre Kingdoms DLC. I think the Ogre Kingdoms might be the pre-order pre-race, but yeah, I mean, obviously, Zinch is the one that I would need to play out of those.
Zinch sounds fun.
Yeah.
I really need to get into that game deep. I every time I get into it, I get started, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to come back to this, and then I just don't. It is one of those games where it feels like it's almost like Civ, where you just can't sit down and play for 20 minutes. You
can't. It's not like I'm just going to dip my toe into.
Yeah, I'm not going to play a single Gloomhaven scenario. If I sit down, it's going to be a 4-hour thing.
I actually think now that you mentioned it, that's kind of what got me. I played Total War Warhammer 2, just a game or two, and I was like, ooh, this is going to take more attention span than I can give anymore.
That's kind of fair. I will say I've been playing more of 2, and previously I had been playing with Brian, with doing multiplayer campaigns with each other during the pandemic, and now I'm playing some more single player campaigns. And when we were doing the multiplayer ones, we would do a lot of the combat, resolve it real time, and we would split up playing our forces, etc. But the single player campaign has been going quite a bit faster because obviously there's just one player, but also I've been having, it feels like, more situations where I have kind of an overwhelming force, and so if I do an auto resolve, then it's not, you don't take devastating losses that a lot of times you can if you do an auto resolve. So that's been nice to feel like I'm making faster progress through the campaign. But I've been doing the Lizardmen on the most recent one, and I just upgrade. Go ahead.
I was just saying, where do the Lizardmen start? Because normally you are in. I can't remember I can't remember if Cholt is the one in Forgotten Realms or the one in Warhammer. Anyway, they come from a really far off place. I don't know where you even start on the map.
Well, I mean, the Legendary Lord that I play starts in the southwest corner of the Vortex campaign.
Okay. Huh. I might be misremembering. It might be Forgotten Realms, where all the lizard people are from. That's really far away.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I will say that I guess we can do a snake draft of things that we're excited for. So I'll do a second one.
What is the snake? Oh, I was like, okay. This is Settlers of Catan. You're placing your settlement second.
My second settlement, yeah.
Yeah, first. Okay, go ahead. I'm ready.
I hate that you use that reference.
I'm sorry. That's what my brain brought me when he said the snake thing and then explained what it was.
He's not used to fantasy sports, and so
that's right. He's not a fantasy football player.
Is that really what that is from?
Well, that's where most people will probably.
Yeah, that's where most people would get the reference. I doubt that it came up with the idea. I mean, Snake Draft probably goes back way farther.
Yeah.
Right. So I just built a new desktop PC, and it was surprisingly affordable, other than I'm just using my old video card as opposed to trying to get a new one. And so I guess my Christmas wish list is that I'll have like a Christmas miracle and find a affordable video card somewhere at some point.
That would take Baby Jesus to do something special for you, because that ain't gonna happen.
Baby Jesus. Oh man.
I'm telling you the truth.
I'm sorry.
It would take.
I just have to share a slightly sacrilegious story because.
Oh, excellent! It's my favorite.
My children revealed to me one of the gifts that they're getting for my wife, and I'm like, you guys, you are winning Christmas with this bad boy. Except for I can't remember exactly how they said. My wife is on this kick now that, like, she just says all the time, like, hopefully Jesus will have come by then again, and that will solve all my problems, right? And so they're getting her cross-stitch that just says basically like Jesus will have come by then, and or something like that. So I'm like, oh, that's funny. That's good stuff. It's the kind of quality entertainment you get from a family like mine.
It is.
Yeah, I have a brother-in-law that's having me build him a new computer, and I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be cheap because he wants a gaming computer and he wants it to be pretty nice, and I'm like,
Right.
I'm like, well, you just got to be prepared to wait, potentially weeks or maybe months for the video card, and the cost is going to be pretty high. And he's like, okay, and I'm not going to tell you how much they are right now because I want Josh to guess since he hasn't looked at video cards recently. But,
how much a video card is? Okay, I'm ready to guess.
Yeah, so
I don't look at individual components anymore, Trevor. When I want a computer, I buy the computer.
Okay, well, so let me explain something.
I'm
going
ready.
to preface this to give you a little bit of when the 1080 Ti's came out, which was maybe 3 years ago. I bought one. Okay. So, and I got a screaming deal on mine. I paid $900 for the video card. Okay. So that's for a 1080 Ti.
Okay.
They've had 2 generations since.
I'm scared.
The current top of the line video card is a 3090. Okay, I'm just talking NVIDIA. We're not gonna go beyond that for now. But the top of the video card heap is a 3090 Ti, essentially from NVIDIA. How much do you think a 3090 Ti goes for?
I'm gonna say $4,000.
Oh, you're much closer than I thought you were. That's pretty appropriate.
I've watched the price of copper wire go up this year, so that's my slight frame of reference.
The part that's crazy to me is these cards sell out instantly at that price.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the heck is going on? It blows me away. I've built a lot of computers in my life, and I've spent a lot of money. But even my most expensive computer I ever built, I think I spent $5,500 on. And its video card was $800, and I'm like, these video cards are more than I've spent on whole computers many, many times. It just blows me away, and they're always out of stock, always.
Yeah.
It's the world we live in now, Trevor.
Well, that's some pretty serious inflation.
It's true.
Okay, Trevor, it's your turn.
In the snake draft.
In the snake draft. So, this is the dumbest Christmas present I've ever bought myself. It really is.
Tell me more.
So we got talking, and my group, my high school D&D group, really wants to, after we finish our current campaign, we get together on, Zoom or whatever in our games, and we have for a long time, even before the ban, because
you guys were Zooming before Zooming was cool.
Yeah, the game master lives in Colorado, so it was just one of those things where we just couldn't really get together. So although most of the people who live locally still come to my house, and then I've got a TV hooked up that I put his face on and a microphone, etc. That's, so everyone can talk to him. Well, we got talking about what we wanted to do, and we have a lot of fond memories about second edition AD&D. And the campaigns that were available to us. It just feels like to us there's not nearly as many campaigns, because there's not. I mean, literally there was a new campaign, every 3 or 4 months back in second edition, it felt like. But some of our favorites are ones like Ravenloft, Dark Sun, that came from right in the center of second edition, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So we're like, well, what do we want to play? And everyone's like, let's play Dark Sun. And there's no 5th edition Dark Sun rules, but there was a 4th edition Dark Sun. And so we got talking about 4th edition, and my friend was like, except for 4th edition sucked. And I just made a offhand comment about how, yes, 4th edition was not that fun. However, the version of Gamma World that they released at the same time as 4th edition D&D used the same rules, and it was a blast.
Magnificent fool.
It was a blast to play. And they're like, what, really? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of board gamey. And I can't remember, did you play it with me?
No, I did not get to play with you guys. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, I was trying to, I just forgot his name.
Not Wade.
Wade, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I played it with Wade.
Okay. That's unsurprising.
That game is right up Wade's alley, and I'll explain why here in just a second. But so anyway, I explained that the game was a lot of fun with Gamma World, because one of the things in Gamma World that is kind of a common theme, regardless of the edition, is like spontaneous mutation.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could be, well, I'm going to go get a drink of water, or I'm going to eat, and you roll on this, the random mutation table, and boom, all of a sudden you've got a third arm or maybe a sixth arm, or who knows, what it could be. Well, in the fourth edition version of the game, it's not actually the fourth edition, but people call it the fourth edition because it came out with fourth edition D&D.
Yeah.
It had a whole deck of cards, and you know how in fourth edition D&D you had an action you could take that would be like, this is your, you take this action once every short rest or twice every short rest. Well, in Gamma World, you had a deck of cards, and every time you got a random mutation, or every time you found like gear, like weapons on the ground, you would draw cards out of this deck. And then those cards would have various new actions. So your character was always changing. So unlike the version of D&D where your actions were always the same and it was kind of monotonous and boring, Gamma World was exciting and different. You could find all kinds of cool things in these decks. And then they would get used up and go away, so you'd always be getting new cards, and your actions would always be different. And there was not really a particular character class, at least I don't remember. I think you picked a race, and it maybe gave you one innate ability that you could do every turn, but that generally wasn't what you did.
Okay.
So anyway, it was really fun. The thing that why it flopped was because these deck of cards were intended to be, you built your own deck, and it was collectible. They had packs of cards you could buy, and there were rare actions in these decks, and you could only put so many of one action. So they kind of took the collectible, I mean, it was WotC, they took the collectible card game and said, let's make it into an RPG, and they did with Gamma World. Well, I think what most people ended up doing was sort of ignoring that and just like, well, because there was rules in there so everyone could use a common deck. They're just like, you know what, we'll buy a few boosters and we'll play in a common deck. Nobody's going to buy these cards. And they didn't, and the game flopped. And a lot of people got rubbed the wrong way by these collectible card decks that you had to have for your character.
Yeah.
But the game was fun. So that long story, I apologize, but that was setting it up. I mentioned this, and they start talking to me about, well, why was it fun, etc. And I just get this, wild hair, and so I start looking up all the things that I didn't already own for 4th edition Gamma World, and I almost bought an entire box of boosters that was just unopened, that was sitting around, because there's a lot of that stuff just left over.
Oh my gosh.
But I didn't. I stayed away from that. But I bought all the expansions for 4th edition Gamma World, and it's gonna go on my shelf, and it's never gonna get
right next to what's the pug one that you have?
Pugmire. That one might actually get played someday.
The reason I love the lies we tell ourselves is because I tell the same kind of lies.
So anyway, I bought multiple expansions for Gamma World. It's actually like the 7th edition of Gamma World for myself. And the ones I bought are like brand new. The first one showed up, and it was just kind of like it was sitting loose in the box, so it was all beat up. I'm like, oh, and it was brand new. Like it still had cellophane on it, but it just the way they shipped it,
packaged it poorly.
Yeah, there was nothing inside of it to keep it from getting crushed.
Sure.
I mean, it's not bad. I'm sure it's fine, and it's a kind of a loose box, kind of like the old computer boxes for games. So it's not a big deal, but it was a little disappointing when it arrived.
I love this present. I love the ridiculous optimism of this present.
I won't be shocked if it actually does get some play at some point, because it's really easy to set up and play. Like character creation is like, choose this character class and draw cards and go.
Yeah.
It's super simple if I remember right. You might pick a default template or something, but it's very board gamey. 4th edition was, but Gamma World fully embraces that as well. Like you have everything's done on maps, everything's very simple to learn and to do. The difference being that it's not monotonous like 4th edition was.
Okay, Josh.
Back to me. Well, so the next game, I tried to open this for myself early, and I haven't succeeded in doing that yet. But I'm really excited to try Micro Macro Crime City, which was a Spiel des Jahres game. It's basically Where's Waldo married to a board game.
You mentioned this on a pre-ramble because you thought you might play it at...
Yeah, I thought I might play it at Thanksgiving. It never happened. Mistakes were made, I guess. Question mark. So I don't know. I think there's a chance. Anyway, I'm gonna snake back to you guys with one more really quick, which I bought this on a whim which is how I live my life in the board game world at this point now, but my son-in-law enjoyed the film so much, and my youngest daughter is like such a Timothée Chalamet fan. She has declared Dune her favorite movie of all time. And when I asked her what book she was going to read next, she says Dune, right? Which was hilarious because then my wife was like, "Oh my gosh, you're going to become more than me,"
Is the FOMO hitting?
Yeah, the FOMO might hit. We'll see.
Your wife might go back and try to read it again. I love this.
No way.
You don't think so?
I hope not. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's good. But the game I'm excited about, which it is not currently rated very well, but we'll see, is Dune House Secrets, which I think is sort of it almost feels like a legacy style or a storytelling style Dune game, right?
Okay.
So stay tuned.
So I know it's Jace, but I'm gonna say this just before we let him go.
Back to you.
Oh, is it back to me?
Yeah.
That's the way snakes work.
Snaked
it. Son of a. Okay, so then I'll just go. I have 2 weeks off for Christmas, unlike Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And then because of the.
So you can go ahead and not play. Oh my god. What the heck is the Disco Elysium? You can go ahead and not play that again. Is that
correct? I actually have a little bit more than 2 weeks because I believe it's the 3rd is the observed New Year's Day in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2 weeks and Monday off. So basically 17 days straight where I've got no. And so, yes, I'm currently telling myself the lies about what games I will play. And one of them is Disco Elysium, but I don't know. We'll see.
Will we?
We'll see. We'll just see what we already know we're gonna see.
What I need to do is commit. There's not going to be this sale this time that shows up the first day of my.
Oh, you know that Gabe Newell is literally listening to you as we speak.
I mean, Alexa's sitting like 2 feet away from me. So clearly, Amazon knows.
There you go.
And I'm sure they share their data with Steam or with Valve. So yeah, I mean, anyway, I probably should create a list of all the games in the order I'm going to play them in, and then just force myself to stick to the list.
Yes, I love this. I love making our hobbies punishment. That's what I'm all about.
Right? That's correct.
You are speaking my language.
Yeah, it needs to be punishment, or I just won't get through it.
Yeah, it's like card games. If you just tell yourself that you hate that list over and over again before we get to the holiday, then you'll play them all.
I mean, I really need to finish Half-Life Alyx. Really need finished. I'm so far into it, and it's just it's been such a fun game, and I'm feeling bad that I haven't finished it.
Yeah, that one does make me a little sad.
Yeah, I got to a point in that game where I'm out of ammo, and I'm in an area where I just can't get past it without ammo.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just run past this stuff. I have to figure out a way to get past it, and some of it requires ammo. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I know the game has a built-in AI. I don't want to call it an AI, but an algorithm that when you're out of ammo, it will randomly drop ammo. And there's ways to bug it to basically get, I don't want to call it infinite ammo, but a lot of ammo. There are YouTube videos that show you how to do it. So I'm wondering if I should just back up and find a place where I can bug the game to get enough ammo to actually get through the part. Because I really don't care about, the integrity of Alyx. I just want to see the story and get through the game and enjoy it.
So I agree with where you're at. I think it's an important Zen state to have reached, Trevor, but I am sort of curious to ask, why not just pull it up on YouTube then and watch it?
Because it's VR. I don't think that's the same.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
I also don't. So in Alex's case, you're probably right. It's probably cheaper and quicker to do that sort of thing. But in a lot of times where I have this issue and where I play this sort of style where I'm just I'll just turn the difficulty down and enjoy the story to get through it. It's generally an RPG where you can't necessarily, where the choices might change the dialogue and or the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what you're saying.
That's not necessarily an option. I mean, trust me, I watch plenty of games. I spend all day watching Twitch while I work, so I don't have a problem watching a game.
That's fair. All right, Jay, I guess close us out.
This can be the last one to wrap it up. I'm waiting for us to get through the holiday season so that Josh again has this mythical free time, and we will schedule Unfathomable, and I will experience joy again.
Right during campaign season, it'll be the best.
It's true. What is your campaign season again?
The primary is May 17th, so essentially from January through May.
So you're going to be pretty busy until then.
I expect, yes.
And then at that point, assuming you win the primary, the rest of it you'll probably be unopposed? Question mark.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Unknown. Yeah, like our district did have a challenger
last
election, but that's also potentially as much from the.
Oh, from who was running?
Yes.
Yeah, how much he was hated. Yeah.
Yeah, that I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate him too, and
You're not even in the district.
I'm not in the district, and I'm a conservative, and the guy is I'll leave it at that. This is
a blight upon our state.
This is not behind a paywall, and eventually maybe I'll be in politics, even though I hate them. So
that's right. I'm gonna hire Trevor for my staff.
Be the board game consultant.
Yes.
The secretary of gaming.
Amazing.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and wrap it up there, and you guys should let us know what you guys are excited for, and maybe it'll get us excited for it as well.
Indeed.